Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Lauren here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Jennifer, and she's selling her affiliate, display advertising, Amazon Associates, and sponsored post business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Jennifer. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Lovely. Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks. I'm really looking forward to learning more about your business. But before we dive in, I'm going to go over a brief summary of the business. This is an affiliate, display advertising, Amazon Associates, and sponsored post business created in March 2020 in the food and beverages and lifestyle niches. The average monthly revenue for the business is $4,071, and it makes an average of $4,022 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 59391 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. The assets included with the business are a domain and all site content and files, business relationships, an email list with 1,062 subscribers, and Facebook and Twitter social media accounts. So now that we know more about the business, let's learn more about the seller. Jennifer, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, sure. So I've always worked in SEO since about 2008. I've always been employed in-house as an SEO manager. And I first started building my own online business in 2019, which was a site that I actually built before this one that's for sale. My first site was a travel blog, and it started off doing really, really well for the first year, and then the pandemic hit. Then I started another site because the first one, it kind of lost 95% of its revenue overnight in the midst of the pandemic, as you would imagine from a travel site. So then I started a new site, the second one, and this is the one that I've got for sale at the moment.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, unfortunate timing with the travel site. How did you come up with the idea to start this site?
So when I saw that the first site had grown to become profitable so quickly, I was like, wow, why am I doing SEO for other people when I've obviously got something here that's, that's a good thing. I wanted to replicate that, but I wanted to make sure that it was a niche that couldn't be affected by something like a pandemic, and I wanted to make sure that it was something that could continue to grow. So that's why I started the second site as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The site makes money from a variety of different sources. Can you walk me through the different monetization methods?
Yeah, so it's mostly affiliates, about 80%. Not really Amazon. I do a little bit on Amazon, but it's mostly single affiliates or through affiliate programs like Impact and CJ and AWin. And about 20% of it comes from display ads, which I have with AdThrive. And then occasionally I'll do a sponsored post, which is mostly if I'm reviewing a particular product anyway, then sometimes I can get the brand of that product to pay me to actually review it. So I'll do that as well.
Great. Yeah, it's great diversification across the site for sure. You've certainly had a lot of success with the business. What is the reason that you're selling it now?
I've started 2 more sites since, so I've got 4 altogether. So I do feel that I'm spread a little bit too thin between the 4, especially because I mostly like to work on my own. I'm not the kind of person who's particularly comfortable or happy managing a large team. So I prefer it to be just me. And I think that 4 sites is a little bit too much for one person. I would rather focus a little bit more. And also, since I've been working from home, so, during the pandemic, obviously, when everyone started working from home, they had to find a space to work in, and there's no spare room in my house. So what I had to do was build this little tiny desk in my closet, and I'm still in there, and it's been 2 years. So I would love to have some kind of office space. So I'd like to move house somewhere with an extra bedroom. So I just think, I'll sell this site now. That should help me along that way, and I can finally get out of this closet.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything you learned from this business, any success stories that you would apply to future sites or businesses that you work on?
Yeah, so one of the things that I've learned is with display advertising in particular, that a US audience pays a lot more than a UK audience. So being in the UK myself, all the content is written in British English rather than American English. And it is a lot of the products that I talk about are products that are available in the UK, which is great for affiliates, but for display advertising, it doesn't pay so much. So for my other sites, the two newer sites that I've made, I've focused more on a US audience. And I mean, that's something that with this site, if I were to carry it on, I would then, I'd make it a hybrid between the US and the UK, and I'd write more articles that are targeting that audience just for how much better they pay in terms of display advertising. Another thing that I've learned actually is to do with, hiring and outsourcing writers, is that it's a really hard thing to do, isn't it? And you can't just pick a writing service and, tell them what you want and expect to get back content that's as good as what you would write it yourself. And I think that if writers aren't specialists in the niche, or at least don't have, experience of it, sometimes the content that you'll get back, it'll have their answers into the questions and it's just incorrect. And then you have to write it yourself. So, yeah, I think that's another thing that I've learned, is just to be careful when hiring writers and make sure you do your work to find good ones. It's one of the reasons why I've decided that I'd rather write the content myself and, have smaller sites and work on my own.
Yeah, certainly. Unfortunately, that's the sort of thing that you only learn with experience. You mentioned that you have a history in SEO. Where does most of your traffic come from?
It's from Google. 95% is organic search. So that's really just the only place that I focus for traffic.
Okay. And do you do anything in terms of marketing?
No, I just focus on SEO really, just because that's what, I've always known. That's what my strong suit is. So everything that I do is just focused on SEO right from the beginning, from the selecting the keywords, planning out the outlines for the articles, writing them. It's all SEO really that I do.
Okay, wonderful. So, Jennifer, if you were to keep the business, what are some of the ways that you would try and grow it further?
I'd definitely look to add more content, because it's still a pretty small site and there are so many good topics to write about. It just needs the time to do it, or a team who can do it. There's an absolutely huge list of really, really low competition, high search volume keywords to go after. And then especially, I'll branch out into the US based content as well. And all the products that I write about in the UK, write about those in the US. Yeah, there's a big opportunity there. And another thing that I do is I've really neglected the email list. It's been, growing slowly. It's got about 1,000 subscribers on there. I've been emailing them sporadically. I mean, as I've seen, there's a really big opportunity there to grow that list. And I get emails all the time from brands who want to work with me. And as well as saying, can we send you this product and I want you to write about it and include it in your roundups, which is great. A lot of the time what they're saying is, what opportunities have you got in terms of tenancy for display advertising or email? And they all really want to get featured in emails, which I haven't got the list for at the moment. So I think there's a huge opportunity there, and that's something that I would go after if I chose to keep the site.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like a really great growth potential there. You mentioned that you're splitting your time across a couple of different sites. How many hours per week do you work on this site, and what sort of tasks take up most of your time?
I probably do maybe half a day or 1 day per week on this site. I try and add maybe 1 article, 2 articles if I'm lucky per week. I update any articles that are coming up to a year old to keep them fresh. And then if there's any new products that have been sent that people want to be included into a buying guide maybe, or they want a standalone article reviewing the product, I'll write that. And then just keep checks over it, update any plugins or anything and check the stats, that kind of thing. I don't do too much on it really.
Yeah. So for someone who's not familiar with these different monetization methods, or perhaps this niche, what skills or requirements would you say are needed to run this business successfully?
I think it's mostly just a good understanding of SEO and writing, or having a writing team. That's it really. I think understanding the niche, at least having an understanding of it, definitely. But being active in the niche isn't necessary. I do find that being active in the niche helps me to come up with keywords because, once you're into this niche and it's something that you do every day, most people will find themselves Googling things every day because there's just so much to learn. So I think being active in it would help you to come up with the new keywords, but it's not necessary really.
Yeah. So what would you say are the biggest risks with the business that buyers should be aware of?
I think everyone's always worried about the potential for Google algorithm updates. I mean, because I've been doing SEO for so long, so I was, an SEO manager all through Penguin and Panda updates like 10 years ago, and I saw the massive impacts that they can have on businesses. So there's always that. But then again, as I know that I've been doing everything by the book in this business, so if there is another big algorithm update, I'm 99.9% sure that it'll have a positive effect. So, when you see sites dropping because of product reviews and things, well, I've actually personally tested the majority of the products that are on there. And the only buying guides that I've got where I've not tested the products is where no one else has tested the products either. And I've got much more information about them. So, I mean, Google algorithm updates are always a risk, but it's nothing that really concerns me.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a wonderful thing for there not to be that much risk associated with the business. Obviously, no one knows the site better than you. How much support are you willing to offer the buyers to help ease the transition?
Well, I put down, I do, the standard 30 days over email and, Skype calls as needed. But really, I'm happy to always be on hand and, for a month or so and help them through whatever they need.
Fantastic. And when it comes down to the actual sale, would you be open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Ideally, I'd like the cash now just because I want to buy a house and get out of this closet as soon as possible. But yeah, I mean, I'd be open to negotiations. And if that's something that would help, then yeah, we can definitely discuss it.
Okay, great. And would you be willing to commit to a non-compete agreement?
Yeah, definitely. Because I've got the other sites that I'm working on. That's where my focus is going to be now. So I don't see myself wanting to get back into this niche for a very long time. So yeah, happy to do that.
Fantastic. So Jennifer, why would you say that a content site is a great starting point for those who are interested in online business?
I just think it's a really fun site to manage, a content site. It gives you the freedom to kind of take it where you want to take it. So, if your main focus is writing content or having a team create content, you can create content around the things that interest you. I mean, having parcels arriving all the time with free products is obviously a bonus. My husband finds it funny how many deliveries I get that, he's like, what have you got now? What are these other things that people are sending you? So that's always quite a nice side of it. And I just think there's so many other ways that you can expand it, particularly, with the brands that are approaching me all the time and they're coming up with ideas, things that they want to email out and special offers. And they're always wanting to, increase the commissions. I'm quite passive in that way. I'll let them email me and I'll say, okay, yeah, go on then. I'll bump you up to the top of the list if you can, double the commission. But I think for someone that's really into that and enjoys building those relationships with brands and, I think they can make a lot more money out of it than what I have been doing if they focus on the right areas.
Wonderful, yeah. So are there any tools or resources that helped you monitor your performance or streamline your business that you would recommend to anyone else starting out in a content site?
I just check Google Analytics really to see where the performance is, and then I'll check the AdThrive performance for the ads every day. And then I do have a tool, can't remember what it's called, but what you do is you put in all of the different affiliate programs, because I'm with probably 20 different affiliate programs, and it monitors all of them, and then it just sends me an email each day with how much the site's earned the previous day. So that's quite a nice thing to wake up to in the morning. I can just look and see the figure rather than having to go and check in lots of different programs. But I think the main thing for education is just YouTube. Every time I'm walking the dog or doing the dishes, I'm listening to YouTube and podcasts like this one and just always learning. So that's something that I'd always encourage someone to do.
Wonderful. Yeah. It's amazing the amount of knowledge you can find online. So that leads us into the final question of the interview. And I think the one that listeners listen to most carefully. If you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think your business is a business worth buying?
Mainly, I'd say it's because of the potential. So the niche has the potential to be massive, and there's so many high volume search terms that are pretty low competition and easy to get. So if you do have a team in place and want to grow something, really, then I think it'd be worth buying for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly sounds like it. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners that I might have missed?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, Jennifer. It's been really great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've enjoyed it. Nice to speak to you.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 59391. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.